We're going to talk economy now, Reynolds. The federal government recently released the April jobs report. It indicates how many jobs were created during the month. Some economists say the report was relatively disappointing, with the number coming in lower than expected. But as it turns out, that number may have less to do with the economy and more to do with the weather. Here to discuss the weather is the weather company business analyst and meteorologist Paul Walsh. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you.
Good morning, Kelly, and happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you so much. So what does weather have to do with employment?
Well, this time of year, the weather has a huge impact. Think about seasonal employment, people being outside, people doing construction. And so when you have weather conditions that are unfavorable to that, cold and nasty and snowy, fewer people are hired, and you start to see these variations in terms of that employment number. And that's a hugely important number for our economy.
So how did the weather impact the employment numbers in April? As I mentioned, they weren't very good.
They weren't. So we've seen about 232,000 jobs per month on average over the last 12 months being added every month. In April, we only saw 160,000 jobs. The Brookings Institute actually is pointing to weather as being a contributor to that. And it's not necessarily the weather in April, but the fact that it's been so mild this winter and even into early spring means that a lot of the jobs that typically happen in April actually probably happened earlier in the year. So there's about 69,000 jobs that they figure were not accounted for. So it's not an economic problem in this case. It really is Mother Nature that's influencing those jobs numbers.
So, Paul, what is the takeaway then? Why is this so important for us to know?
Well, you know, the job number is so important for the economy. It's important for things like the 401k. There's a lot of economists that look at that number very hard. The Federal Reserve looks at it in terms of determining whether or not to raise interest rates, so it has a material impact on us. Also, Kelly, we're in an election year, so you're going to hear a lot of discussion about jobs and job numbers. So in this case, by looking at the data, by understanding the data, you can be a little bit more informed about what's really going on within the economy. And in this case, in April, it looks like the weather had a big influence on shaping that number.
All right, let's hope the weather improves and therefore the economy improves. Thank you so much, Paul Walsh, our weather company business analyst and meteorologist. Well, we do think the weather is